This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live 100 feet from the Gulf of America. Here are your award-winning social media superstars, the hosts of Beach Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you all for coming to Wahoo Willie's on a beautiful Sunday morning here on Fort Myers Beach. And I love this time of year because it's so hot. And I like to put on my windbreaker jacket and spandex shirt and get on the bike and ride until the sweat starts coming out of the front of my jacket.
What are you, 1980s?
Well, it's one of those tight-fitting
you're like
shirts.
Richard Simmons.
Yes, and my leg warmers and get on the bike and ride down and just sweat. Because when your wife tells you you have a fat belly, then you need to get on the bike the next day.
You're just going to cry about that.
Yeah,
Listen,
I swear. Go ahead.
You didn't listen. Somebody sent me video
Did you just put fresh lipstick on? Wow, you look ravishing today. And you know what? The other thing is I would never forget your anniversary. Dan forgot Megan's anniversary yesterday.
It's not
the mayor.
hers or his, it's theirs. And
yes.
we have forgotten ours.
No, I can never forget the day of bliss that you dropped upon me on November the 21st.
Nope.
11th.
Nope.
20th,
nope.
19th, November 19th. So when you get old, you forget things a little bit, but I remembered the month.
I wish I could forget, but
yeah.
It's been 30 years.
So
did I crack you up?
What were you going to say? You were going to say
somebody sent me a little video of you arriving in your yellow, slicker at, at the gym.
Yes, I love to sweat it out. It's not too good for the show when I sweat that much, but thank you all for coming. We have a fabulous show lined up. By the way, there will be no show here on Sunday next week because we'll be at La Ola's for their 15th anniversary party.
So it's the whole weekend?
Morning. They're having a Saturday and Sunday anniversary. It's 15 years for La Ola. So we're doing our show out in the heat on Sunday, and then we'll be in the dunk tank. And now I know I'll be in the dunk tank on Sunday. And Mary, the women's club.
I like how you don't ask me, but he sends a message to somebody else who's on vacation and has them ask me because I'm not going to say no.
See, dear, I would really wish that just one weekend you don't lie during the show.
No, that is the truth.
So Sunday, I agreed to go in the dunk tank, and the dunk tank is the women's club. All the money from the dunk tank is going to the women's club. So Mary Torgerson sent me a text last night and said, "Will Kim go in the dunk tank?" And I said, you know how she is about her hair. She doesn't really like to go in the dunk tank because of her hair, but you can text her. That's how it happened.
Uh-huh.
And so she texted. Did you say yes?
Of course I said
Oh, so you're going in on Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're going in on Sunday.
We're doing our show there Sunday. Huh? I don't know.
Yeah.
The school's doing it on Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the other thing I needed to? I did want to give kind of like a brief recall update. You probably saw on Friday that we did post the statements of defense from John and Karen. And there will be breaking news about the recall tomorrow that I know what it will be, but I can't share it with you right now. So just watch our Facebook page tomorrow.
Do I know it and I've forgotten? Or
you do know it.
Okay.
I did share that with you. So that will be coming out tomorrow. And their 60-day clock is now ticking to get 505 signatures to push it to a recall election, which all of you town taxpayers will pay for, and it'll cost about $20,000 to $25,000 for that, in addition to the attorney's fees that John and Karen, reasonable attorney's fees, whatever that means. How do you determine what's reasonable? To me, if I had an attorney, a reasonable attorney fee would be something that gets me off the hook. That would be reasonable. Who determines reasonable?
Compare a low and a high and go to
that would be an average. That would not be reasonable.
That would be average is considered
I see.
reasonable.
You got a brown spot right on the top of your nose there, you better go check that out. It's going to look weird through the whole show. I'm going to have to Photoshop the show after we're done here to get that thingy off there. By the way,
I want to say.
Yes, wait, not yet. Okay. If you didn't watch our walk around yesterday, we went to Vacation Villas, and they're open. Thankfully, they're open after 33 months after Hurricane Ian. And what happened with them at Vacation Villas, and they're located right next to the Pink Shell in Bowditch. They replaced the roof right after Ian, and then Milton came through, and they lost the roof, the new roof in Milton. So they had to have 2 roofs put in. And so, but they're so happy up there, and they're open. They have 30 units. They are for rent. You can go to Tri-Power Rentals, Vacation Rentals, or VRBO. And there are some good deals right there. There are also 2 units that are for sale at Vacation Villas, but it was nice to see a building open. And
you're not thinking about moving, are you?
No, I would never think about. I'm already the mayor, so why would I need to move on the beach? I don't need to.
I served it up for you.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to say was, if you get a chance to walk on the beach and you go to Vacation Villas, look at the plantings behind Vacation Villas. They survived Hurricane Ian. This is the story they told me, and they've already. I mean, they were damaged from the storm surge, but they survived. And those people in that building said those plantings saved their building. So if you get a chance to look at that,
do you know what kind they were? Were they
yes,
sea
they
grapes?
were a lot of sea grapes, and they mentioned the other things. I think you have some 3 or 4 choices or something like that. Dan's going to give us an update on that. I know, and it looks nice, and there's still paths through the plantings to get to the beach. But I know some people are concerned with the plantings because they want to be able to look out the back and see nothing but the beach, or be able to walk to the beach. But you really should go look at how nice that looks and how much they say it saved their building. So we did the walk around there, and the pool's going to be ready this week. So it was good news to see another building open. And on the way down there, the Best Western the parking lot was full. Margaritaville was full yesterday, so things are going. At least it sounds like a good June. Dan said he has had a good month of rentals with the carts, so it sounds like a good month going on there. So let's get to our guest. I know you guys don't really.
I thought you.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Well, Dan can sit down while he's making his way over.
So we want to thank Jamie and Debbie Hotka for giving us these books. Here, hold my microphone. You.
We're getting ready to have a grandson in October. So thank you, Debbie, for these new books. That'll take me about a week to read that one.
It doesn't say how to babysit a grandson. It says how to babysit a grandpa and how to babysit a grandma. So.
Are there any books out there that say how to spoil your grandson? Like there have to be books out there just how to spoil. What are the top best ways to spoil your grandson? That's what I want to know. Do you get him a 10-speed bike the minute he comes out the chute?
You know, I'll tell you, I remember the first bike I ever got.
You are really stuck in the.
I still remember it as though it was yesterday. I don't remember how old I was, but it was at my grandma's house, and they had a red bike, and it was hid behind this fence that my grandma had around her little patio. And I remember walking out her side door, and they pulled that bike out. It's just one of those things you never forget. So
I remember
it's always a good gift.
The first bike. Do you guys remember Huffy bikes back then in the day? They used to have these things in the back where you could kind of lean back on.
They called it a sissy bar.
That's right.
I mean, that's what they called it. I'm not throwing shade.
Yeah.
You need to bring back the cool
and the banana
things.
seat. Remember the big old banana seat?
Yeah.
And you would put flags or put cards in the wheels, and then when you would rotate the wheels.
I was just going to say, you got to bring it back. You got to put the clothespin on there with the
That's right. The baseball cards. The baseball cards. And the coolest gift I don't know why we're talking about this, but the coolest gift I ever got from Santa Claus was an ice skating rink. There was a big giant box behind the curtain. I don't know why I remember this. And I saw the curtain sticking out. This is when we lived in Medford or somewhere on Long Island. And I saw the box back there. And of course, you know, the biggest gift, you always have to wait until the end.
Yeah.
And my parents spoiled us. They got us Santa got us a lot of gifts for Christmas. And the ice skating rink came out. Of course, my dad had to put the whole thing together in the backyard. And it gets a little bit cold on Long Island. So he built an ice skating rink in the backyard. And that was the coolest gift I ever got.
Well, they never gave
What's the coolest gift you ever got?
They never gave you a cookbook because it would have taught you that you don't put hot dogs in chili. So
Jesus Christmas. How do you pull that one out of your ass right there?
I just thought about it as he said it. No, you know what's funny about the ice?
My mother.
You know what's funny about the ice rinks in Minnesota? You know, all the families that had the room, they would literally put the boards up in their backyard and flood their backyard and make their own ice rinks in the backyard.
My sister corrected me. It was Deer Park where we lived, but they used to play ice hockey on the sumps. there used to be those sumps that you hop over the fence and the ice would, you guys know from New York, the sumps would ice over. It was just
the only sump I know is usually followed by pump.
No, I don't even know what it was. It was like it was a sump for, I don't know, water discharge or something from, but the kids would go out there. And, it wasn't anything you could fall in through. It was just the water was pretty shallow. So,
well, being from Minnesota when you were growing up,
geez,
any place that would freeze over, you were skating.
Yeah.
We had a friend of ours that his son is autistic, very smart kid, very big kid, plays hockey. And he and I were at his house one day. We were building a 4-season porch for him off the back of his house. And we're standing inside, and all of a sudden we hear this. Like, what the heck is that sound? So we go out back, and his son is ice skating on the frozen water that's on top of the pool cover.
Oh, no.
He's like, I can't get mad at him. He's putting in the work.
No kidding. So one of the things that you gave away a prize for the Mound House about a year ago. There was something at the Mound House.
Raffled off. It was one of the raffle. Each council member had put in an experience, if you will.
Yeah.
And so what would
the experience be with John King? Total boredom?
I don't know. John is not a boring guy, actually.
I know. I'm just
He's
picking
got
on
such a
him.
Great sense of humor
Honestly,
and a lovely wife.
I don't remember.
It's going to be him reminiscing radio songs.
Was it dinner? Okay.
Dinner with John King, and so he could tell you all about his radio days.
Mine was essentially I'm going to drive you around for the day, and
so the winner of the prize were Joy and Kevin Sullivan here,
and one of the two. Yes.
Oh, they're all right. So today is your assigned day where you and Megan will cart them around.
Yes.
And you're going to start at Junkanoo. Now,
I'm not sure what we're going to do, where we're going to end up.
Are you going to video it? You got your new. He got.
I haven't even taken it out of the box yet.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's right.
Did you?
Those things are cool.
Are you required to speak to the guests while you're carting them around?
I don't think that's an option. Yeah.
Well, Are you
going to wear like a little outfit, like a tuxedo and a hat? That's a good idea,
They're
right?
clapping over there.
I thought about dressing like Belky.
Are you ready to hear? How is there a time? Is there a time limit? Like, do you have to?
I don't think so. I don't.
All right. So, are you ready to listen to Kevin talk to you about the comprehensive plan for 8 straight friggin' hours today?
Part of the experience.
Can you ask him not to bring up the comprehensive plan?
No, that's the part of the experience. You get to talk about whatever you want.
I see. So before we get into the nitty gritty of things,
Except for the anniversary thing, that was a mess. But
the anniversary, you brought that. How do you think Will is doing? Give us an update. Good. I saw Will yesterday in Lynn Hall Park. He was with his lovely wife, and they were walking their dog. And how do you think he's doing?
Good. I mean, obviously he's still learning a lot of things. I think he's getting a lot of good information from his staff, trying to get us out of the old trailers and in the new trailers. I mean, it's a cliche, but he's literally drinking through a fire hose, and he's got a lot of stuff to still learn, but he's making good connections with the county. He's reaching out to the people he's got to be in contact with. I know he's talked to the LCSO, so I think he's doing great.
He had to hit the ground running. I mean, he's really had a
very smart guy. He's very he's very I don't want to use the word structured, but he likes putting things in plan and planning ahead, and which I really like. And I think he's doing great. I think he's going to just continue to excel as he gets more information and understands. We all know living on the beach, there's a lot of different players and a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out where everybody fits is kind of takes a little time.
So when I saw him at Lynn Hall Park yesterday, I had just run a lame 2 miles, and he said he ordered me to do 50 push-ups. Is that really something he's allowed to do anymore? I mean, wasn't he supposed to leave that?
Well, did you do them?
I tried.
Well, that answers the question.
Yeah. So no,
he should have told you to do 500. 50 is
no. And so I did ask him, and I don't know. It's hard to predict because I think you're still waiting for an elevator, right? Like when the new town hall is going to open.
Yeah.
Well, for the love of God, with elevators.
Yeah, the staff is pretty much in the building. That can be in the building, but the lower half where the dais is going to be in the chambers isn't open yet. I think they're still waiting on some windows. So as soon as it can be open, hopefully, I'm hoping in August, by the time the break is over in July, we can get in there. But
I remember when Andy was still.
Wait a minute. I was impressed when I went to the beach bar because they have an elevator in their place. I'm like, wow, you guys got an elevator. That place was amazing. Have you been?
I've been by it. Obviously, I haven't been in it.
Man, it looks nice.
I know.
It's nice.
I was supposed to be there at 4:00, and I just couldn't get there.
Yeah, where were you? I was there.
Yeah.
It's nice, and I think they're planning to soft opening
July 4th. They are way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Greg and his sister and that team. I mean, Greg is a character. If you don't know Greg, You got to go in and meet him. He's such a great guy. He's always out there dancing, and he likes to have fun. And
I can't get it.
he hired, the group that they're building, the Stevens group. They're really good, and they're high quality builders, efficient. I mean, obviously they're moving pretty quickly. So it just shows you, when you get a good contractor, how you can really make things happen.
And they have the best portable bathrooms. Like
did you check the toilet
oh
paper
my
soft?
gosh, it's so nice, and they're brand new. Like nobody's butt has sat. It still has the plastic.
I need to
on
go
the
there
thing.
first and help.
And it was so cool because
christen that place.
It sits right on the ground.
Vacation
hydraulic
villas,
stuff.
vacation
And they
villas,
have a
everybody.
freezer thing there.
Very soft toilet paper in all the units. Yeah,
They have a portable freezer thing.
I saw that. Yeah. I watched your video, dear. I watch everything you do. So, Dan, speaking of
It's like clockwork every Sunday.
yeah, who is it?
I don't know.
Michael Stewart
He's a
was
young guy.
Michael Stewart was on the show yesterday, and speaking about respectable contractors and things on the island, some of the challenges that people on the island are facing now is contractors that promise the world and then they don't deliver, we know Greg Skasny's story. Michael talked about it on the show yesterday, but you got people like Michael and Albert and Stevens Construction and Kara Stewart and Patrick Van Ness that at least those people are going to follow through on everything they say. And Michael called you, or you called him, and you guys spoke about the beach school yesterday. And he said he was going to develop plans for a new beach school for free for the town or for whoever. Yeah, which is nice because it seems like that school's not going to open.
Well, yeah. So John Koss actually had a conversation with Michael, and instead of going around, trying to get middle part, I thought it would be nice to talk to him and find out what it exactly is he was willing to do. And it sounds like he's going to, I don't know if it'll be full plans, but it'll be at least some renderings of what it could look like. Because I think it's going to be important, because then you can start putting numbers to it, to really what it's going to.
That's what he was saying. Yeah.
You can really start putting numbers to what the construction costs and stuff would really be. I saw you posted the questions you'd ask me about my meeting with the school board, and it's unfortunate, but I think if we're all paying attention to what's happened since Ian, the writing's on the wall. I don't really see it being a public school. So what are the next steps, right?
I mean,
is it going to be a hybrid
school, but
public school? Yeah. I mean, I don't think the school board wants to be in the business of public school on the Fort Myers Beach. I think if they did, they would have probably already said that. But,
the worst part about the school board is just tell us. Just tell the beach people we're not going to open your school so that you can move on.
Well, I think they're trying to find, which I can respect what they're trying to do, because we have to do it also. Sorry. You have to figure out the best path forward for not, just the students and the parents, but obviously the taxpayers who pay the bill. And I completely understand it. So we had a great conversation last Monday, and, through an idea.
But Dan, you're saying you had a great conversation. You didn't really have a great conversation. A great conversation would have been, we're opening the beach school.
Well, that would have been
a political
ideal.
Conversation.
That would have been an idea. It wasn't political at all. Actually,
Did Byron get on them at all?
So Byron and his team had basically two questions that they wanted answered. Had the again, if you're being a realist, we all understand the writing on the wall. So what does it look like? So the questions
being unrealistic,
that Congressman's office wanted answered, and they were the ones that set up the meeting. They and then asked me if I would be part of it. So it was basically, have you considered a charter school, and when are you going to make the decision? I'm just paraphrasing, but those are essentially the two questions that they wanted answers
and this
to.
was Denise Carlin's answer. No, right? I mean, did she answer the questions?
Well, she did eventually. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of
Okay, what were the answers?
The ansers were, we haven't made a decision yet. Got to take it to the
board.
board.
That's not an answer.
But we, in meeting with the ad hoc committee and meeting with everybody that has a decision, we try to throw out an option there that we thought could work. If it's going to go to charter school, how can we make it so that we never have to get down this same path again, right? And basically, I'll just paraphrase it, was, if the town or some other group can take over the property and the building and build that school, and the school board is no longer involved in the public school business on the town of Fort Myers Beach, it could be a win-win for both sides.
Isn't there paperwork somewhere in the files that says that property cannot be used anything other than a school?
Well, that was at the conclusion of the meeting. That was one thing that all three sides, everybody involved, agreed that's got to be step number one. We got to figure out exactly, because I reached out to Lee Melzik, who Al knows a very, very.
He might be.
He's a historian, and he gave me some ideas of what he recollects, and it dates back to like 1945 when it was given to them, and then the school was in 1949, I think it was built, but it was within 2 years they had to build back the school. So our staff is trying to track it down. I know Denise and her staff are probably going to try to track it down. because the discussion was the land. Is there a value on the land? Well, if you got the land for free and it's supposed to stay a school,
Right.
I think this solution could work for everybody. It gets the school superintendent and the school board out of being in the school business.
So then it would be like a town.
It'd be a charter school at the town or another group would
or a
manage.
business.
Is there a chance that the school district can give you the land for $1?
Well,
town?
So that's where the discussions, I think, it was basically just another option above the 5 options that their consultants had given them.
Right. None of the.
I mean, if I and I try to look at this as though I was sitting on the other side of that dais
Right.
and making a decision. We all understand the ILA. We all know there's a value to the ILA. They know it. We know it. But how can we get to a path where we can get the kids back in school as fast as possible? That's goal number 1. And that we never have to deal with this again. Even if there's another storm, even if there's something else that comes up, that we're not having to fight. I don't want to use the word fight, but we're not even having to be in the same situation that we're in again.
You're in control of it, rather.
Right.
Than.
You control your own destiny. We have to get the enrollment up, which I think we can do. But at some point, the school board's got to look at when do they stop putting good money after bad. And I think that's kind of where they're at. So we came up with an idea that we threw out to them, and they thought it was a good idea.
I don't want to talk about
the
school the whole hour. But last question about the school. I'll try again this week. Is the town prepared to file a lawsuit against Lee County if they don't follow through with the ILA?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to come to that. I think that there's enough options on the table that both sides, are not going to be happy with the outcome, but I think both sides can live with the outcome. I think there's a path to get to that. Their board obviously has to work through that, and then whatever they come up with, then our board will have to go through that. So I think there's a path to not have to do that, because at the end of the day, if it does go to litigation, to answer your question directly, if it comes to that, is the town prepared to do it? I think everybody understands that we are.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it benefits them. It doesn't benefit us, and
it just
certainly
delays
doesn't benefit,
things more.
and it doesn't benefit the kids. So they agree that getting the kids back in school, they agree having a school on the island, but how is that going to look? And I think that's kind of where we're at. They agreed to have some sort of decision or a conversation about it in August, because they're on a break too. So we're hoping that we get an update in August, if not sooner.
So
and go from there.
Are the kids going to the Heights or San Carlos? Do
They're at
we
San
know?
Carlos now, but the discussion was to move them to Heights.
Oh boy.
So I'm not
These poor
exactly sure
kids.
how that's going to work. But again, the goal is to get the kids back on the school. And my thought was, if we could take that over, we could rehab the school that's there. We could get the kids back in school right away while we're building another school.
Yeah.
And then we never have to deal with this
So why
again.
don't-
So
why
there's
don't you-
options. There's a lot of different options out there
Why don't
besides just the 5.
Why don't we call Denise right now and say, listen, just
She's probably not going to
listen,
pick up.
just give us $15 million and we'll go away.
It's not just her, though.
Well, no,
Well,
it's not. She
but-
has to make a recommendation to the board, and
Well, I'm
I
not
think-
calling Bill
Still-
Ribble because he
I
doesn't
think-
he
I
doesn't
think
even know
we-
where the
We will
beach is.
not-
I think.
answer
Well,
your
I
call.
fully intend on meeting with all the board members. After talking with Michael yesterday, I'll probably wait until I see whatever he comes up with, so that way we can have a realistic talk about here's what things are really going to cost,
Yeah,
and go from there.
gotcha.
Do you think if you did it at a charter school that not you, but whoever's considering it would think about a K through 8?
Well, it's possible, sure. That opens up the options.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you don't have to have a second party in there to make that decision. So
All right.
we're hoping. I think there's a path. I don't think it's going to get to litigation. I think both sides want a resolution to this sooner than later, because we've got so many other things both sides could be doing.
Okay,
Right.
thank you on the school. So have you had a conversation with Nancy? I know this is, I'm veering off backwards a little bit, or anybody at the Voss firm that represents the town about what the potential cost to taxpayers of this recall could be, not only with the election that you have to pay for, but with attorney's fees. Like, what is reasonable in their mind?
I honestly, I have not. I've tried to keep an arm's length distance away from this.
Arms, legs difference? I've never heard
Arm's
that
length
before.
Distance.
An arm and a
Arms
leg's difference.
length.
He said
Arm
arms
length.
and a leg.
He did not.
Arm's length distance. There
Say
we
it
go.
again, Dan.
I just
Yeah,
did.
that is a hard one.
I just did. It took a little while. No, I have not had any conversation with them other than what you saw in the council meeting. It's not for me to get involved in. It's
Right.
it's a process that has got to work itself out. So I think you've reported on what the initial costs or what the cost could be. Attorney's fees could be what attorney's fees are going to be.
I know what the initial, cost was $2,000. That's like a retainer. And so, I mean,
I can tell you it's going to be more than that.
Where does it go from there? And does the town at some point say that's too much? I mean, if it's like I was saying before you sat down, reasonable to me is you getting me off. Like, I mean, I know that sounds
but that's
weird,
not a price.
Yeah,
I know, but dude, I would want the best attorney. Whatever it costs, it costs. Like you're making up lies about me.
Yeah.
You have no proof for it. And
I think it sounds like the stuff has been put out. The 200-word response has been put out. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know where it goes from here, to be honest with you. I've heard two different stories. So
yeah, I know. I don't even think Tommy Doyle knows.
I don't know. I mean, there's a reason that these aren't very successful. There's a lot of moving parts, but I will say I'm a firm believer. If you have accusations against someone, that you should prove it. If you've got the proof to prove it, then prove it. And
right.
You know what? If it's proven that in this case it's true, then you move on from there.
Well, those are serious allegations for sure. If they were true,
I thought the vice mayor, his comments were very, very well thought out. And when it comes to people's reputation, it's a thing you can't get back, right? Once it's tarnished and it's unfair. It's not something, we live in a world where people can accuse anybody of anything, but even though it's found not true, the accusation's still out there, and you're still going to have people who think it's true.
First accusation. Right. That's the first
the
arrow.
The thing when you read the allegations, okay, violation of the Sunshine Law, that's kind of vague. But when somebody says that you accepted gifts from a developer, to me, that's defamation. I mean, I would like to see if that's defamation of character. If they didn't accept gifts and somebody accuses you of accepting gifts, but then again, with public officials, the bar is higher with defamation and things like that. But still, it's a reputation kind of thing.
But that's something that can be proved. You either have receipts, pictures, someone that's going to come forward and say, yes, I saw them take the.
Right.
I mean,
like that.
It's not like
that mayor of Toronto. Did you guys watch that thing on Netflix with the mayor of Toronto? You got to watch that. It was called Trainwreck in Toronto or something like that. Mayor Ford was his name, and
I think you would, once you start watching it, you'll remember hearing about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. Yeah. And unfortunately, he passed away. He eventually got cancer and died. But it's an interesting thing because I'm very interested in politics.
To that point, they had videotape of his malfeasance.
And he denied it and he lied about it. And he still got elected, which was crazy.
And he still got elected after.
Yeah, after that.
Now I got to watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
And what they had
Dan,
videotape of him doing pales in comparison to what
so
y'all
let's
are
say
talking
somebody
about.
accused you of accepting gifts from a developer and you didn't do it. Wouldn't you want to defend yourself?
100%.
But how do you defend that?
100%.
You get a lawyer, right?
You got to do exactly what's being done.
But don't you feel like that's defamation of your character?
Well, I'm not a lawyer.
I'm asking you personally. I'm not asking you to lawyer up, bro.
Personally, would you feel attacked?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And I don't. It happened when I was running 2019. Yes. I was being attacked with these things, and then they went after my family, and that pushed it too far. So you want to come after me? I know going into this arena, I'm going to have to deal with people who don't like you, and they're going to say whatever they want to say to try to get their narrative and their point across. It's just part of the business. You learn to accept it, but when you bring a family member into it, now you've gone too far.
Right. But that's mean. But that's not defamation of character. I don't know if telling people that you accepted gifts is either. I'm just saying. You're right. After a while, you're like, okay, you guys are just lying about me constantly. But I guess in politics, that's just part of the game.
Well, it gets beaten into your head, because you got to go through the ethics training every year. I mean, it gets beaten into your head that, perception is reality, and it's better to. Technically, you can receive some things. You got to report them, whatever. I'm right.
That's the way I would be. That's the way we've been with.
Damn thing.
But Dan, I'm not even elected. That's the way I am with advertising. Yeah. If anybody that's a developer wants to advertise with us, no way, because the haters just jump on you like there's no tomorrow, and they won't believe it anyway. But that's the way it was back in the day with Margaritaville. They never spent a penny with us. I was just a fanboy of Jimmy Buffett, and when they announced they were coming in. And the lawsuits came flying. It was just crazy what was going on. But so the what were we going to?
Well, it's unfortunate. It's something that we have. The town's dealing with that. There's so many other things we could be focusing on.
True.
But
I think it makes the town look Mickey Mouse too. I think people from the outside
I don't think it makes
look in.
The town look Mickey Mouse. I think it's just people who don't. And I read the comments, and you see people who have either never set foot on Fort Myers Beach, don't know anything about it, but they follow maybe your page or other publications, and they make comments, and you literally have to scroll right past.
Speaking of
they
that,
have no idea what they're talking about.
Speaking of that, now that's a lovely segue,
here
Dan.
go.
So every once in a while, now I know you get a lot of emails from constituents asking for help, and you respond to them with help, or you ask whoever you will.
Can,
right. So every once in a while, somebody sends me an email, whether we have a relationship from a walk around or they've seen things that we've done. And when I get the email, I send it to you. When you get the email, you get the answer and send it back to me. So I don't know if you guys saw these idiots on Bill Veach's page. So somebody sends me a question. I send it to Dan. Dan sends it back to me with the answer, and I send it back to the lady from the mayor. It said, here's your answer from the mayor. So somebody that doesn't know what's going on Fort Myers Beach writes in the email from Mayor Ed Ryan. Okay. That's funny. They made a mistake about it, but then you get these jackballs on.
Well, so the letter that was sent back went to their property management.
The property management,
Alliant property management made the mistake.
Right. They don't know what's going on down here.
But they sent it out to a bunch of people.
Right.
So
they sent it out, and then what happened? Sun Palace Vacations.
Somebody else did it.
Copied it and said it was from the town's website. And sometimes you just want to strangle the computer because people are idiots. And I did feel like
far. I mean, people don't know what they don't know. And if you're
my point is not the email that went out by accident. That shit happens. Sorry. I mean, I listen to Megyn Kelly's podcast all the time, and that's why the curse words start flying. Have you guys ever heard her podcast? She uses the F word like every 30 seconds. I'm going to
turn you off.
But anyway, it wasn't the mistake was an innocent mistake. We kind of laughed at it last week. It was the people that start to comment, he only thinks he's the mayor or he wishes he was the mayor. It's those people that annoy the piss out of me because there's no reason for them to be that nasty.
Or assume that you somehow orchestrated.
Oh, you're telling me I need to have a thick skin. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you just let it roll off.
Crying out loud.
Say what they're going to want to say. Yeah. People on social media will try to bait you into whatever they want to bait you into.
Yes, you're being a bit of a whiner.
I am. I kind of am.
Megyn and I have this conversation all the time. When people attack me, Megyn takes it personal. Yes. And she sometimes wants to defend me,
sometimes she has,
and she's gotten really good about, you just got to let it roll off your back.
People now she doesn't. Now she doesn't post it on the Facebook page. She just sends me a text.
And I want to,
True.
I mean, we have had to have a couple conversations where I'm like, honey, you have to delete that. You cannot say that. Yeah. So, but God love her. She's just trying to stick up for me, and it's I'm used to it. But I would probably be the same way if somebody was doing it to her. I would.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I want to, rest assured, we were not moving to the beach. We're not moving to the beach.
Dan, we have 30 minutes. We have 30 minutes left in the show. I'd appreciate it if you called me Mayor Ed for the 30 minutes of remaining in the show. Just so it's.
I mean, the thing is, we couldn't afford it, but. I know there's people out there that would offer to give you a place so you could do
with
that,
other people.
But you're not going to do it.
I would be kicked out of the first town council meeting, not for smoking crack or anything like the mayor in Toronto, but just because
you gave it away to
because I can't get along. I just can't. I can't put up with the crap, Dan. I just can't. I don't know how you put up with some of the crap.
I don't know how I put up with you. That's the question.
Well, it's an acquired skill.
For sure. It's for sure.
I think. For me, the best way that I handle it is I try to put myself in their shoes. I always try to put myself in their shoes. And if I was on their, and then you can have a conversation with them. And I think if you have a level-headed conversation, people start to de-escalate very quickly. And they realize, okay, I'm kind of being a jerk, or I know it's not your fault and I shouldn't be yelling at you. And eventually they calm down and you have a conversation and you can get to a resolution. I think if you can approach everything that way, there's going to be some people that no matter what you say, they're going to want to fight you. I mean, we've got people that you say something and then they take that and then they spin it into something else. And by the time, if you keep going back and forth with them, the original conversation was the ball was orange, and by the time you're done, they're like, "That's a '56 Buick rear end. It's not a '54."
Right.
I mean, it's just
there are some shoes and some heads you do not want to get into.
Yeah, and
I never get out.
A good example of what you're saying is, I wasn't a big fan of Terry Prasad's 50-unit hotel, which is off the board now. But we saw him at the business meeting. He was at the business meeting, and we had a normal conversation. I think part of it is when you are face to face with somebody, things are way different. And it was a totally normal, fine conversation as if none of the other crap had happened.
And
You didn't have a Real Housewives of wherever moment?
No, Terry's
Wow.
going to be part of the Mullet
at you.
Festival, and Dawn is here. We're going to talk about the whole mullet thing afterward. Did you bring any mullets that we can toss? Oh, that would have been great video today.
Did she bring one to wear?
How big is a mullet? Like, how big is an actual mullet
I don't
fish?
think they're that big. I
Mine
think it's
mine
like
went
a
down about the
trout.
middle of my back at one time.
Yeah. I ordered a
I
mullet
think they're
wig
like
for
the
next
size
week's
of
show.
a trout.
I'm going to be wearing a mullet wig
Any
and the
fishermen in here?
don't tank
Yeah, because you catch them in a net, right? They're net.
Yeah.
because they're used for bait. Is that why you catch them in a net or no?
No, I think people eat them.
No. Well, I asked Warren,
They
our
smoke 'em, they do
son-in-law,
all
this
kinds of
morning. He said that they do throw it out
Smoke
with
the
a net.
meat.
Yeah.
So
I see
um,
them out in Sanibel. Then just throw them
the
in.
other thing I wanted to ask you about, because I brought up the plantings behind Vacation Villas, is do you have kind of an update? I know we're at the point now where I
Yes.
think you accepted the bid for
Yes,
the
we did.
plantings, and people are really excited about when that's going to happen.
Oh,
what
I know your
wasn't-
code now.
That's
What,
okay. There's
what is
nothing
it?
in here.
What is it? Tell me what it
Where's-
is.
I'll tell you off camera.
All right. So one of the questions I couldn't answer when we were looking out at that $1 million view at Vacation Villas, by the way, is the berm is behind them. There was a little bit of space between their plantings and the berm. Does you have to go to the bathroom? Is that
No,
what you
I
said?
have a question, but not on this topic.
Do you have to interrupt me right in the middle of my question? Do the plantings get planted on the berm or on the Estero Boulevard side of the berm?
It's on the berm as far as
On
I
the berm.
understand.
Gotcha.
It's my understanding.
Okay,
That's why
so-
people wanted the lower, a lot of people want that lower lying, like the railroad vine, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
It's just a lower, it's not doesn't grow up, it grows out kind of thing.
They're not planting that peanut crap, are they? That
No,
you hate?
perennial peanut.
Perennial peanut. If you look it up, it's weeds. Is really what it is.
It is.
They're all over the
We-
island.
a lot of the plants down here in Minnesota, we would call them crabgrass because that's just
Right.
like grass that takes over your real grass. And there's you drive down some of these side streets, you see a lot of these lawns that, to me, it all looks like crabgrass, but it's a different type of grass for this environment. But
It's perennial peanut.
it's
Different
real,
kind of
like,
grass.
But when you look at it from Minnesota,
need
you're
to
like,
table.
that's a yard full of crabgrass, but it's pretty green, plush
Yeah.
crabgrass, but it's not, the stuff that we're used to, at least where I
Right.
grew up.
All right, what do you got there
So
from Chad?
yeah, this is from Chad. I talked to Chad this morning. You already talked about the contract. He said the contractor expects the plants to be ready from the nurseries to plant in August, September, approximately 30 working days to complete, and they should be done by the end of October.
All right, well, you're challenging hurricane season right there, right?
Well,
I mean,
and he
but that's the
also
best
he
you can
also
do.
gave an update since we're on it about the reconstruction, the beach reconstruction, and I'm just reading you exactly his words. So
Do you mean renourishment?
renourishment? I'm sorry. Well, he wrote beach construction.
See, that's
Yeah.
why I'm the mayor. I know the right appropriate
You know
words.
all of it. You know all of it. He said we are also pushing to complete the Dakota up to Lanark by this week before the sea turtles start hatching along the 5,000 block. After this southern end of the central segment is done, we'll break back and start pumping again. The sections are not very heavy due to the no work zones, somewhere around 2,000 cubic yards per 100 feet of shoreline in the central versus 10,000 cubic yards per 100 shoreline that we did initially by Leonardo.
See, I was
So-
kind of wishing you would translate Chad's wording into something that we all understand, but
It's basically doing a lot less pumping that still needs to be done to fill in again from 10,000 to 2,000 cubic yards.
where
He's
is
not
he?
good with math.
Where is he
I know.
talking about? Where?
The south
mid-
end by Leonardo Arms, the south central, whatever
Okay.
it's called, but
In other words, it'll be done soon.
soon.
Okay.
What
What about the lights, Dan? How's
Have you seen the poles going up on the
I
south end?
saw some of
There's
those pretty.
poles on the base side all the way up to or just past Santini Plaza now, where the bases are in, the poles are up, the wire sticking out. If you've noticed the boring crews that have been coming up, now they're like right around the Margaritaville. They came up, they turned around at the turnaround at the bridge, and now they're working their way back south again. So you'll see them cutting up concrete, pulling the conduit through, putting the base boxes in, pouring the concrete. So that's the crew that's going ahead to get it ready for them to put the base in and then put the pole up. Once that's done, FPL is going to be, they're working on their load stations that are going to power all these lights. So if you see, for instance, like at the end of our street, you see there's a little probably 8 or 9 foot concrete pole that sticks up and you're like, well, that doesn't look like the regular light pole. Those are going to be the stations for the crosswalk lights
Mhm.
that they're going to have in the certain locations. So I just found that out this weekend. I stopped to talk to the guy he said, no, this is for the crosswalk right here at the end of the street. So
Dan, when
that gets all up, you need to have a light fest or a
Yes.
light up.
it's going to be it's a lot of lights. It's going to be
light
a lot
up
of lights.
and you need to bring those 3D glasses that people wear when they see those really nice red lights all over the place. So, Dan,
Well,
when you get recalled,
what you're
what would
talking
you
about.
say to the voters about the top 3 things that you've gotten accomplished as the mayor of Fort Myers Beach?
When I get recalled, well, I wouldn't say me specifically.
Yes, you. Please.
I mean, it takes a team to get this done. It's not any one person. I would say the lighting is pretty high. I mean, I've been working on that for a long time.
Decade.
I would be pretty proud of what we've done with Tallahassee and bringing money back after the storm, and the work we've done up in DC would be very, and then just the help that I've been able to give people through the permitting process that haven't understood it. And I mean, I guess that's something I could say personally that I've done, that I've chosen to do because I understand it probably a little bit better than most. But I would say those would probably be the top 3 things that I would be the most proud of. Obviously, it goes without saying the fact that you had mentioned at the beginning of the show, we've had a really good June for our business, and I've seen other businesses that have been doing great.
I mean, it's busy in here.
I mean, for
Crazy.
the middle of June to see how busy it is and to see the people still coming over, that tells you that although you may agree and not agree, and this goes back to you're never going to make everybody happy. Those that are saying you need to get moving.
I don't hear that a lot.
Those are people who have not been here yet.
Or you need more parking or all the other things.
All the same things that we, parking is always going to be an issue on the island.
Right.
We
It is.
understand
Traffic.
that.
Is
It's always
parking
gonna be
really an issue on the island?
Well, right now, no, because people are choosing to park in private lots and they're parking places they shouldn't be. But as people start coming back and building their houses back, those are going to go away.
So the Public Safety Committee met last week, and
no, I
one of the
mean,
Public Safety Committee members that comes to the show quite often mentioned that the parking on Fort Myers Beach should be far more expensive than it is. Do you think that it should be far more expensive than it is?
I wouldn't agree with that. I wasn't a huge fan of going from the $3 to $5 back when that happened. People are, you're going to have a few people that aren't happy about it, but I mean, just look out here. Every parking spot is full. They understand that that's a revenue generator for the town. People that want to come and support the town understand that that's a direct way to be able to support the town and its operations is our second largest line item in our budget.
Yeah.
So it's something that's very important for us. And I think people get it. We try to help the locals and the residents out as much as we can with giving free parking outside of season. So we're trying to do everything that we can. And what I find interesting is that the town is making more money.
Yes, I was just going to say
they're making more money on parking revenue by giving less tickets.
Huh?
So people are, you don't have to be heavy-handed all the time. Our staff does. Tom Yazzo and his guys do a great job of, they understand people. They run late or they couldn't get their bill for their food in time, or things happen. And then there's some egregious ones, and then mistakes do happen. It's like I've got a receipt, and anything in technology, there's bound to be mistakes. So things happen, and the staff is working with them. And I think I could tell you the complaints I've had about parking violations I haven't seen one in a long time.
By the way, Lee County Sheriff's Office is out there. They're parked everywhere, and they are watching everything you do. Do you want to?
Did you have a little issue with the popo?
I did have a little issue.
I got to hear this. What did you do wrong?
I may have. To me, the light was yellow.
Oh. It was pink.
To them, and they are, you always have to defer. It was not yellow. So we pulled over. I was just happened to be listening to a podcast about how we always assume our life is, going to go without hiccups, and how you should expect a hiccup. And then when the hiccup comes, you just welcome it. So
that's
as
why
I
you
pulled
drove through the
over,
red
I
light?
said, no, when I pulled over, I was like, well, because you get that moment where you're like, if I stop, and there was a lot of people behind me. I'm like, if I slam on the brakes, they're going to hit me. And then I know that that's their fault, but then I still got to deal with that. So anyways, shouldn't have done it.
So
I
you tried to outrun them.
No, I did not. I was not speeding. So I pulled over. I said, well, here's the hiccup. I just said, yep, whatever you say, here's my information. What are you going to do? I'm not going to be a jerk. It is what it is.
You did get a warning. They were very nice to you.
And then it came back. She had all these papers in her hand, and I'm like, oh, I'm not bracing this hiccup right now, but it is what it is. And so she gave me a warning. And our stupid insurance card was out of date.
Well,
too.
you know,
we had
now,
insurance.
yeah.
It's just I didn't
If you don't
have
print out the new cards,
Yeah.
then so by the
So-
way, just
the same thing happened.
So here's how
Sanibel?
warnings work. Now
you're in the
I am
record.
slamming. I sent all of his crap in his car right through the windshield this morning because
Thank
I
you.
was like, yellow?
But for the record, ladies
Well,
and gentlemen,
you-
my wife is a lead foot. She drives
am not.
way too. Oh, please.
That's
It's an-
defamation right there.
Yeah, it takes you an hour and a half to get to Orlando, and I don't know how you do it during the busy
Well, that could
traffic
have been your
times.
argument. You could have told the Lee County Sheriff's deputy, "Oh, trust me, I know yellow. I'm driving."
She tried
around
to
in that
say, "Do you know
banana
what
car all the
show I
time."
co-host?"
Yeah.
But that didn't go
I know.
anywhere.
I said, do you know my husband's the mayor?
Yes, you know, and
That'll get you
she
in the back of the squad
she
car
yells
faster.
at me because I'm always in the left-hand lane when we go home to Gateway. The speed limit on Daniels is 45, and the sheriff's department sits in the bushes by the stadium, by the Red Sox stadium. But these people speed by you at 70 miles an hour, and they never get caught. And so I drive in the left lane at 45 miles an hour. I don't speed. I don't break the rules. I drive slow.
Yes. So when you're on I-75 and there's that really irritating car in the left lane going 55, that be him.
Well, you could tell that I don't have a car, but I would not do that in the left lane of I-75. I'd be in the
Anyways.
right lane for sure with all the slow
Anyways,
pokes.
let me ask my question.
Wait,
Now,
Go ahead.
so-
Wait,
how does that
no,
go?
hold
Ed,
on,
How does
hold
that go?
Yeah, right. Joy has a question before your question. So, Joy, come on down. You have to announce your
it
question.
better not be my
No, it's
question.
not. She already told me. There's your microphone. No, we got a fourth one there. Joy will be tooling around with the Allers First Family later on
excited.
today.
I'm excited about that.
Please, are you going to bring up the comp plan during your tour of?
No,
Okay.
no. But I do have a question, and it's about the Catholic Church. So it hasn't been touched. You know, I know they've got the fencing, but it's going to be 2 years. And I was wondering if y'all have tried to pressure the Archdiocese at all to get some movement. Just, you know.
Watch out for
I
the
don't know
lightning.
about
Whatever.
pressuring God. I
Well, I
mean,
mean, it's not God. They're men
Yeah.
for the most part, right?
Yeah. Well,
we talked about it last week.
Well,
Did you
people-
get a
people-
hold of
I missed that.
No, that's all
Sorry.
right. No,
Yeah, no, people-
so you're
people
not
are-
the only person that's been asking.
right.
Was my
We've been
point.
told that they plan on rebuilding, and that's about the extent of what I've been told. But we certainly can reach out to them or have someone on staff reach out and find out, because people are starting to ask about it. What's going to happen? You know,
Yeah.
it's it's just the next property on the list that people are asking about. So
Squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
You know
Squeaky
all
wheel,
about
some
squeaky
squeaky
wheel,
wheel.
Yes,
right?
for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
I
That's
I
right.
know I've got a lifetime supply of WD-40.
Yes. You know, sometimes that is like, it's one of the example of that was the Bee House, although that felt like it took forever. But the minute that somebody
Right.
starts to get in the spotlight,
Right.
Well, and
yeah,
it's unfortunate
the
it
Junkanoo
gets
building.
that, but on the other hand, though, when we have sent out stuff to people to come into compliance, I would say we've got a good 80 to 90% rate of people that correct the issue, because either one, they didn't know about it, or two, they realize that now they're on the radar. Oh boy, this ought to be good.
Heidi said the right lane is for saving gas and the left lane is for hauling ass. So
That sounds like some Heidi would
now
say.
they're all yelling at me to get out of the passing lane. So,
Yeah.
wow.
So a few minutes ago, you were talking about the revenue into the town, and
Yeah.
that the parking is a big part of it. You know, I don't know why I harp on this, but I've asked you this for a while, and I think there's been movement on impact fees.
there is an update.
Yes, there is an update.
So the way I understood it is that the impact fees that you're putting in place are less than they were before.
Not necessarily. I mean, we had to rush through that pretty quick, so we didn't get to ask a lot of questions. I think when it comes back, we'll ask
I
questions
mean, it's
again.
not.
It did
it's
show
been
that it
taking
was
a
less.
long time to get.
Well,
to
but they
this
have
point.
to. But
But
they
there are
look
different
at,
categories.
yes, and they have to calculate it based on future. There's a lot of calculations that go into it. I would be lying to you if I told you I understood them all. That's why we had to have a consultant take care of it. Jason and his team from Access are doing that for us. So yes, it may be less now, but we're still talking about a significant amount of money.
I
when it
know,
comes
but
to
the
the developments.
cost of everything has gone up. You would think that the cost for impact
Well, I'll
fees
tell
that
you,
they would expect.
I will tell you, I can't answer that directly, but I'll reach
because I
out.
saw it in
see if
red,
I
and
can
red
get-
usually means less.
because
yeah.
I did notice, that was a question that I had, but again, we were
You need revenue. Jack
We-
that up.
well,
Sorry.
but you can't. there's all kinds of rules and regulations you got to follow to put these in place. And I'd be lying if I told you I was an expert.
Well, I agree,
in
but I
impact
can't
fees,
believe that they made it go down after how many years it's been around.
There are a bunch of different categories that are in there.
It's just,
Yeah, you want to keep
it's
it. Well,
stuff from
you can create
before.
whatever you want, but you want to keep them as broad as possible to allow you the
Yeah.
most flexibility to use the funds that come in.
I do want to. Are you done with your man? You were nasty to him on that one.
I'm not
I
nasty
know.
to him. I just want
Was it the
That
run
is
the
a
red
way
light
to-
thing? I mean,
Yeah, when is it gonna? When it,
that is a way to generate
Yeah.
revenue.
By the way, just to
and
put a bow
it was
on that.
weird that it would go down.
When is it going to be done? When is Jason going to be done with his year-long survey, and when is it going to be implemented so everybody knows?
well, it has to be before the budget, so it has to be done soon.
Okay.
I think in August you'll see him come back,
All right.
and we'll probably be able to ratify it then.
Can we say hello to all these people from Pennsylvania that are down here visiting
Wow,
Fort Myers Beach? This whole table's from
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Wow, I never
What
knew we
part
could
of
get.
Pennsylvania?
I never knew we could get so many Cleveland Brown fans in one
No,
table.
Pittsburgh, right?
They're like
Pittsburgh.
shaking their heads.
Pittsburgh
No,
fans.
no.
And they are staying here at the Snug Harbor condo building
Okay,
back here.
good.
So thank you guys for coming. And
Have
we
you had
appreciate
some food over at Snug Harbor?
Yeah.
Good food. Did you like it? Good.
So
How
now,
could you not
You guys
like
went
that?
out. You
That's
two
so
went out
good.
biking this morning, right? How far did you bike? That's 1 mile.
It's 2 miles.
They went on
genius. You do have
unicycles.
horrible
Well, it's
math.
1 mile up there.
It's
You
1 mile
do it
down,
on
1
a
mile back.
unicycle.
Okay, 6 miles. All right.
I hope you do the
They
checkbook.
did
'cause
72 miles. They went from here to Naples.
So I
and
got to
back.
tell you a story. On my bike down here now, from Gateway where we live to here, it's only 19 miles, which is about an hour bike ride. As I
It was a little bit longer.
as I get to 41, there's a guy who's, he's got the clip-ins, he's got the spandex pants with the
Yeah.
pads on. When I ride 20 miles, I don't put the pads on, or I don't put the nut butter on, anything like that. So I just get on my regular workout gear and I ride to the gym. And
enjoy
you
your
should
breakfast.
you should try the nut butter and the golf
Here,
carts.
we're moving on.
No, you know what's funny is back when I was in high school, a friend of mine, his name was Buford Ryman. He was a friend of mine in high school, and he was a big biker. And I got into biking with the whole clip-in toe thing, and we would ride down to Minneapolis and back. And his brother was big into biking, and I realized quickly that was not for me, but it was fun. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you could ride 25 miles an hour and
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
get somewhere in a hurry if you wanted to.
Well,
but
the whole
get up was not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get to 41 and there's a guy waiting. He's biking down to the beach. He was going to practice biking up and down the bridge, which is fun because there's no bike lane on the bridge. I realized that you have a section about, no joke, that big to get your bike on if you actually wanted to ride it over the bridge. But there wasn't a lot of traffic today. So he was riding 45 miles today.
Mhm.
And he said he rode 75 miles yesterday. So that's a guy that's got a
Sheesh.
lot of free time on his hands. But
You know whose kid is a really big biker out in Colorado? Sandelli, Ray Sandelli's kid's a
Oh, no
big,
kidding.
Huh.
He's a big biker out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to talk to Ray about it one time. Ray actually rides bike a lot
I know.
too.
I know. All right. So the what was the other thing that we want to talk about? How is the 4th of July parade coming?
It's coming along. I think we can always use more
Floats?
use more floats. It's one of our favorite ones just because it's not nearly as crowded, but it's always usually really hot. So bring a lot
yeah.
of water. Make sure that you're hydrated. But it's always one of the funnest ones because you can move around easily. It's for me. It's because it's not as crowded, but we'd love to see it as crowded as the Shrimp Festival parade. But I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet.
So the parade is sponsored by our parade broadcast is sponsored by Michael Stewart. Our broadcast of the fireworks, Pray for No Fog, is sponsored by Michael Stewart. And I bring up the fireworks. We had a Matt. Holy crap!
Price.
Matt Price sighting yesterday. He came to La Di Da. He handed off a $225 check because he's going to be part of the Mullet Festival that we're going to talk to Dawn about in a minute. And I hadn't seen him in a while. I think he is in an unusual situation. Like I think he wants to be part of the community, but with everything going on, not quite sure how he can be yet.
Well, I got
Do
to
you
feel
have
for him a
anything to
little
base
bit.
that on?
As you're
Well,
kind
I
of
mean-
you're in a position where you don't. I agree. I think sincerely Matt and his team want to be part of the community and they want to help, but it's difficult for them to navigate. Are people saying that they're you're going to have the people that are going to say you're doing it just because you think you should. I don't.
Yeah, that's a
in
no-win.
every conversation I've had with Matt, whether you love what he's doing or you hate what he's doing, He's always been sincere to me. He's always been forthcoming. He's always been truthful. When he does something, I don't believe it's nefarious. I don't think it's for any other reason other than he wants to help. So take that for what you will.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think right now with everything going on, the recall is about Seagate. People are going door to door saying it's about Seagate and other developments, but not maybe.
They haven't come to my door, so I don't know.
Right. I mean, come on. You're telling me you haven't heard that's what they're leading with on the Seagate?
I've heard a lot of things with the recall. I've heard a lot of stories, so I don't know.
Right. And so that's why I think, do you think that being that it's been approved, the project is going through like the permitting design? Is it? Have you gotten any indication from him, or is it on hold? Because I remember with the Margaritaville suits, Tom was like, "Nothing's happening until this is done."
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for them. I would assume they're probably still moving forward with the intent that they've got the approval and they're going to design their building. Whether they are or not, that'd be a question for Matt. I don't know, but at some point there'll be a resolution to this, and it's either going to happen or it's not.
So, but as far as town council goes, it's been passed. That can't be changed. Now, there might be something that could be changed.
Well,
the lawsuit thing, but you guys can't go back and change your mind.
My understanding
even if
is
new people got on.
If what is out there now is ruled, it could come back for reconsideration.
See?
Wait a second. Now, in the court, you mean?
Yes.
No. Okay. We were having a conversation last night.
In town council members, if the recall went through and new people got
the
on,
approval has
back?
been done. The
Right.
approval has been done back. Depending on what happens in
So
the
there's
litigation.
no gives backs on that.
The council has made its decision, and now the decision of the council is being challenged for certain reasons. And if it's found that it needs to come back to us, then
No,
we'll
I think what we were trying to figure out last night is
No, that clears it up.
No, I don't think it. Not really. I think can one council member now, or just hypothetically, if there's a recall,
That's
two
what I
new
just
people,
said.
can one of those council members say, "Hey, by the way, I want us to bring this back up and talk about it again"? Or
that's not my understanding.
okay,
no.
and you've said that before.
Yeah,
I think
no,
we've
it's not
asked that before.
I think there was an opportunity for someone to be able to do that voted on it, but I think that ship has sailed,
Right.
and now it's going down the path that it's going to go down.
Okay.
But I think it would have to, my understanding of how the whole process works, and again, I'm not an attorney, but if for some reason it has to come back to the town, and the town's got to rehear
That's
it
different.
again.
That's
But
got to
it's
be
not
from the
gonna be
judge.
the town that brings
Exactly.
it back.
That wouldn't be a town council member or anyone on the staff.
judge
that
would
do it.
say the people that objected to it are correct. You made the wrong decision, or you didn't look at or follow the comp plan, whatever the judge will decide, and then you have to relook at it. You could
And
still
I'm
vote
sure
for it
somebody
again,
who's an
though.
attorney that's paying attention will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but that is
Okay.
not my understanding. My understanding is the council's decision has been made. It has been challenged, and whatever the courts decide, we'll go whatever the next step are. But it's my understanding that not any council member can just bring it up and say we want to
But
rehear
if a court says to you, if a judge says to you,
We've settled it.
well, maybe I'm confused, dear. Are you? Do you have a date or
Shocking.
something
Where's
this
the bell?
afternoon?
No, I
Is there
know,
somewhere
right?
you need to go? Like, so a judge, let's say a
These
judge
people are
rules
like,
that
go.
it has to go back to the council. The council still can vote again for it, right?
Well, sure, it's a whole new hearing. You're starting
Right.
all over again. So
Are you starting all over? Like they would have to represent their case?
yeah, that's my understanding.
Oh,
Is if
okay.
it came back before us, it'd be just like a new hearing, and you'd have to go back through it again.
Wow, what a
I
pain
hope
in
I'm
the
not
neck
speaking
that would
out of
be.
turn, but that's my understanding of the process that it's going through.
So how would that not apply to Meyer's side or
They're not
the
being
Neptune?
challenged.
No, yeah.
But if the judge, I mean, maybe we're just
You're
being
trying
hypothetical
to get
here.
your pot and let's stir
No,
it.
but none of those things followed the comp plan, right? They all are outside. The only one that's inside the density is Seagate.
Well, no, see, I think so. You're making it more confusing than it needs
Yes.
to be.
Okay,
The comp plan is
Seagate-
the ceiling. Like, the easiest way
Okay,
to say
gotcha.
it is the comp plan is the ceiling. You can't exceed that. Whatever that is in the comp plan, you can't exceed it unless you go through a comp plan amendment and get the comp
Okay.
plan changed. So all of these projects didn't exceed what was in the comp plan. Now, whether they're consistent with the vision of the comp plan is a different story.
But it's subjective.
Well, I don't know that it's so. Like, just give you for instance, FAR is the max FAR on the island is 2.5. If someone were to come in and say, I don't want to do a comp plan amendment. I just want to have a 3.0 FAR. They couldn't do that. It would never even get to the LPA because it's outside the guidelines or the guardrails of the comp plan.
Okay.
The land development code controls all the density, intensity, all that kind of stuff. The comp plan is basically the guardrails. If as long as you stay in the guardrails or ask to change the guardrails, this is what you got to do. So every project that has been passed, the majority of the council has felt that it's consistent with the comp plan.
Yeah. But so if we're just being black and white, Seagate is within their density.
Yes, they didn't ask for any density.
Right. With the argument is the buildings are too high. I mean, if we're being basic, the argument from the community that is upset, the buildings are too high.
I mean, I think it's
right.
It's been asked and answered
Yeah.
1,000 times.
But if you're looking at it technically, Meyerside's was outside their density. Neptune was outside their density. There was zero density here. Moss was outside their density. Everybody's outside their density. So everything is a subjective on the island.
Well, it comes down to a council decision. Are they giving enough public benefit to make it consistent with what the comprehensive plan visions? And then
right. And there are drawings in the comprehensive plan of what the vision was of Red Coconut after it, if anything like that ever happened. And it's nowhere near what the proposal is. But I guess if I'm looking at it from a judge's standpoint, like you like to do, Dan, you like to be on.
So now you're a mayor and a judge.
Well, I mean, come on.
We'll
Well, that
definitely
resume's
to
getting
get
bigger
him
by
a
the minute.
gavel.
The king is going to dub me at night
You're
real
getting
soon.
in the weeds
No,
here.
but if I'm looking at it from a judge's point of view, you're being subjective on every single project that you consider. You really are. I mean, so how can you rule, other than those pictures don't look like 17-story buildings, how could you rule that the comprehensive plan wasn't followed? You allowed them to go through the whole process. You allowed them to follow the process, and the vote didn't turn out the way a bunch of people like.
Well,
that means they elected the wrong people.
I voted the way that I vote because I believe it didn't meet the comprehensive plan.
Right.
So I voted the way that I voted, and I stand behind it. Things again, if it comes back before us, it's gonna be a whole new thing, and we'll see if it changes. But
I'm not trying to take a stance on anything. It's just like everything's kind of every piece of property is subjective on this island, and that clearly was too high.
well,
People didn't want it to be 17
We're in a
stories.
position now where
I think it's a flexible thing, but
Yeah.
in this case, in that case, it felt too much of a stretch.
Yeah. So Margaritaville didn't lose in court. Now, why? Why do you think
my
they didn't
God.
lose? I know they pulled
dropped.
it at the
It was
last
dropped.
minute, but
the litigation was dropped.
but they weren't gonna. It didn't look like they were on a path. It was at a point where it was an appeal.
Yes,
if I remember right.
they actually did win. They actually did win. and then
Margaritaville did.
They actually won, and then it was appealed immediately, like the next day.
Yeah, and then
So they
eventually dropped.
technically did, and then eventually it was dropped. But yes, they did. The town, it shouldn't say. I mean, it was the town. Margaritaville was a participant in the litigation, but
do
the
you
town,
remember?
the town prevailed, and then it was challenged.
But do you remember why the town prevailed? Was it because the judge decided that the town did follow the comprehensive plan?
Yes, the judge felt that the council at the time followed the land development code and the comprehensive plan, and then again it was challenged. I think the next day.
In your opinion, did
But
the
you
town?
can't compare. You just
What?
it's
Why
un-
can't you compare?
because
did
it's
you-
going
do
to
you
be a
feel
case by
like-
case basis.
Do you feel like the town council followed the same process in Seagate as they did in Margaritaville?
I do. I think you have to follow the same process. Now it comes down to if you want to use the word subjective. We all have different opinions, and we
Yeah.
all look at things, and I think we all agree on a lot of things, and some things that we don't agree on. And I look at the comprehensive plan and land development code maybe a little bit different
Right.
than my fellow council members do, and that's fine. But there's nothing in there that has been approved that hasn't been consistent. I mean, the vote's the vote.
Because there
the
is a
majority of the
backdoor-
council has felt that it's consistent with the comprehensive
Because
plan.
you guys do it differently from Sanibel. There's no way this could be done in
Right.
Sanibel. The answer is no the minute you come to the front door.
Sure.
well,
in
you wouldn't even
Sanibel's,
come
it's-
to the front door there
Right.
because
They
it's
don't
clear
allow any of that.
that it's not allowed.
And so
Well,
I guess
people in every jurisdiction are going to push an envelope. It's negotiations. I mean, they're going to come
Well, they're
out.
going
and
to
they're
push it if there's room to push it, but like Sanibel, there's just it's
right. So you
Well, but Sanibel has come out and said there's absolutely nothing that. I mean, they've been pretty vocal that we're not going to allow these kind of things.
Yeah.
The town
That's
for
exactly
whatever
what
reason
I'm saying.
hasn't.
So
Yeah.
you basically said you believe that the town did follow the right process. So you make
I
it
do
sound
believe
like
the town followed
so
the
you
process.
don't think the judge should rule in favor of the
I didn't say that.
objectors?
I didn't
Oh.
say one way or another. I said the town followed the process. Now, whether or not you agree that they adhered to what the comprehensive plan and land development code say are two different things. The process was followed. They came and they asked for something and they got an approval. That's the process. You go through the LPA, you go through staff, the LPA, then the council, 2 hearings, and it gets voted on. That's the process.
So why
Now
would
you can agree on the details of the process of what was approved and not approved, but that's not the process.
okay? I guess
All
we're
right,
getting too far
you're
in the
like,
weeds.
yes,
You are.
But
people are going to start holding up signs.
Yeah.
Ed, let it go.
You're gonna have a no ed day. You're gonna have a no ed
Yes.
parade.
somebody
soon.
posted that. The whole No Kings thing was hilarious, but the No Ed Day, which
No Mayor's Day.
Mayor's Day or something like that. So
I was
No,
kidding.
I know
was
you're-
kidding, but I could see it happening.
your opinion on that is fascinating because I just wonder. I mean,
Okay.
John King turned to Nancy, if it was Nancy sitting there that day, and said he kind of asked for her opinion if he voted a certain way, and she confirmed that his vote would be okay. So she feels like they have obviously she feels like you have a
No,
strong.
go back and watch. What he asked is, can we vote on this? He didn't say,
Oh.
do we have to vote yes on this? He asked, can we vote on this? Meaning, have they followed the process? That's what I took
Sure.
Councilor King's
Same-
question.
I
to
think
say.
we're talking about
Can
the
we
same
vote on
thing.
the? Well, of course, it wouldn't have gotten there if they weren't following the process. Nancy would have never let it get to that point if they weren't following the process. Nancy doesn't set the policies. We do. So did they follow the process to be able to come and ask for it? Yes. I think that was the question that was asked. He didn't say, Nancy, can I vote yes on this?
No, I know that, but okay, my
At least
Well,
that's
last
not the way I
kind of
took
what
it.
you said.
sorry, my last question on this, I promise, is
Forever
so you feel
or
like
just today?
you want me to shut up, Kevin? Tell me to shut up. Because you look like you're falling asleep over there. You're on your phone 5
Yes.
seconds. He can't wait to get in the golf cart.
Yes. Come on, move
All right,
along.
last question, and
Back
then
to
we'll,
red lights.
then we'll have Dawn on. And so you feel like you followed the process. Nancy told John that they followed the process. Isn't the argument in front of the court that you did not follow the comprehensive plan process?
No, it's not. So again, you keep saying process. Did we follow what the? You can interpret what the comprehensive plan envisioned. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the process. The process is you make application, it goes through staff review, goes to the LPA, it goes for council, policy decision made, move on or don't move on. That's the process.
Okay.
That's what Nancy said. Yes, you're following your process. They're not saying that they agree or disagree with any decision. They're
Okay.
just saying it has gone through the proper process to get to make a decision. As the 5 elected council members up there, you get to make the decision on whether or not it fits within the comprehensive plan and land development code. That's our charter. That's what we're deciding. That's what we're
right.
we're
All
supposed
right.
to do.
All right.
So the process is different than the details. The details are,
So is the judge?
it goes back to your
Okay.
pictures. Like you say, the pictures. If someone's using the pictures as a reason, I mean, you have to, there's a lot of different things that you have to take into consideration.
fair.
The process is the process. There's a lot of, public comment,
Okay.
testimony, all that
So
stuff
is the
goes in.
judge going in? If you can't answer this, fine. I know you're not an attorney. Is the judge going to decide whether or not the town properly followed the comprehensive plan as it was envisioned?
I don't know what the judge is going to decide. When they decide, they'll tell us what the ruling is, and that's
Hmm.
what we'll go with.
All right.
But I believe that everybody's followed the process, or they would have never made it to that level. That's
Yeah.
my opinion. But, and again, the details,
armchair
the devil's in the
quarterback.
details.
No, I'm just trying to understand like what the judge is. What's the judge
Then have a
looking
judge
at?
on.
No, what's the judge looking at? Is the judge looking at the comprehensive? Like, is the judge going to read the whole comprehensive plan and say, "Holy crap, these are 17-story
No,
buildings"?
he's going to listen to arguments and make a decision.
We're going to make a decision.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I've stated my case as to why I didn't feel it was consistent with the comp plan and the land development code. And
The
We'll see what it
vision of it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to try and
for the-
interpret.
for me, I mean, it's been voted on. For me, the reason we have a comp plan and a land development code
Right,
was for something that was smaller than what was approved in that case. So
right.
how can you say you're consistent with something if
Right.
the reason you have something
But that's your opinion. That's your
That
vote.
was my vote.
And
that
you,
was my opinion.
you and Scott voted no, and there were 3 yes votes.
yeah,
So
so
I
we'll
mean,
see where
yeah,
it goes. And
interesting.
whatever the judge rules,
The thing that's
All right,
annoying.
Mullet.
I know. The thing
moving
that's
on.
Mullet,
annoying
Mullet,
is that.
Mullet, come on, Dawn. Come on,
Dawn.
Dawn.
All right, I'm gonna run to the restroom. You're gonna read this ad, and then we're gonna talk to.
so
Dawn.
just a real quick
Okay.
update.
Oh, wait, go ahead.
Just real quick update on the cart shack. We've got the keys for the building now. We're going to be in the, I didn't say it last week, but we're going to be, maybe I did, I don't remember. We're going to be in the new, remember, it's the worst name ever, but it was called the Licky Sticky. It was the pink building that had the pink elephant on it,
Mhm.
just across the street from the bowling alley.
I know it very well.
That's where we're going to be. We won't be able to have the pink elephant, but that's kind of where we're going to be for the cart sales. So once we get up and running, you'll see signs going up and flags and stuff. We're working through the details with the county, what we got to do there. But hopefully in the next 30 days, we'll be fully open and running.
Cool. Hey,
So
hey,
we'll see what happens.
could someone run down and lock the men's bathroom door and lock him in there? Because we're never getting out of here if he comes back.
Pull your
folks.
pull your truck right up to the door so we can't get.
Holy moly! All right,
He's
well,
got
good.
a Dukes
We
of
look
Hazzard through the
forward.
Barbie truck.
We look forward to
All right,
that
we'll see you.
opening
Thanks.
up. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to read an ad, and then Dawn, you can come on. All right, Resolute Roofing. Customer service focused, committed to delivering an exceptional experience through clear communication, honesty, and reliability at every stage of your roofing project. They do comprehensive roofing solutions. They serve Southwest Florida and beyond. They have local expertise. Offices are in Fort Myers, Tampa, Port St. Lucie. Look at them, Ocala. Quality workmanship, storm damage and insurance assistance, licensed and insured, so you have peace of mind, and you want that. You want peace of mind with any construction project. Free inspections and estimates and no obligations. So, and it wrote down, call today, and Ed did not put down the phone number. Now, I do happen to know, because that's our son-in-law's company, so we know everything on here is true. And I don't want to give out his personal phone number, though, so we will get that when Ed comes back. I like how he hands me incomplete information here. So, all right. Do you want to talk about Mullet Fest and how big is a mullet? I said like a trout.
Well, okay, so I had to Google it, but they're anywhere from like a foot to 3 feet. So, and people do eat them, but I hear they're like oily. So yeah.
And I wonder
don't
if
think
it's
I'm
the
gonna eat
good
any.
kind of oil like salmon, the omega, I don't know, 3 or 6.
I do not
but
believe so because
don't
I just
think
Googled
so.
that as well because I got
3 feet.
cholesterol now. Yeah.
Well, that's going to be hard to throw. I mean, that's going to be.
We're going to get the little ones.
Yeah.
We'll use little ones to do
Dear,
that.
you
so.
didn't put the phone number down.
It's on my phone. I'll give it out.
All right.
You want me to go?
No.
Okay.
Let her rip
All
now.
right.
Let her
Oh,
rip.
I thought you meant you want me to go. I'm like, no, you just
I'm
got
out
here.
of here. This is all right. So the businesses on the island, we all pulled together and had a great meeting. We're trying to get people to recognize that the island's back, or at least coming back, and we want to get off-season people to our island. So we came up with some great ideas, and our first one is Mullet Madness. So it's going to be August the 1st through the 3rd. And I have worked very hard on this to get this all together in a very short time. So some of the businesses are not in on it only because I needed to get all my advertising and everything together and our plan together.
To say she worked hard on it is an understatement. You should see how many emails I got from Dawn just in the last 24 hours. And it's nice to see so many businesses are participating. Now what's happening is they see what's going on, all the excitement, and they feel like they might have missed out on something. We're not trying to get anybody to miss out on it. It's
No,
just
not at all.
sometimes you got to say, we got to go with what we
Right.
got right now.
Yeah, I feel very, very bad about the businesses that didn't make it in, but I had to cut off. So needless to say, the weekend's going to be full of all things mullet, a little less the fish. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a pub crawl style mullet toss contest. You'll be scored. That's for adults. On the next day, we're going to do the same thing for kids. So that will happen there. So you're going to go various places around the island. The businesses are all coming together, as well as just residents, and coming up with items that we can put not only in our awards baskets, but also in raffle baskets. So if you complete every stop on your pass or your trail map, whatever we end up going with, then you are able to put that pass in for the raffle drawing at the end. So it's going to be 3 days. It'll start on Friday, which is just the pickup. And then we'll move to our kickoff party, which is at Margaritaville. Then we'll have awards, and we'll have a mullet contest for not only for adults, but for kids. and I'm trying to.
Oh, that's going to be fun for the kids.
Oh yeah, I hope they all get.
Where are the kids gonna? There's different locations for the kids too, right?
Right, and the kids' mullet contest will be on Sunday versus the adults will be on Saturday. So I don't have all of those stops and everything in my brain, but that's what's going to happen there. Each of the locations is encouraged to do something on their own mullet wise, and I know like I'm going to have at Sandy Bottoms, I'm going to have a selfie spot, so it's going to be pretty fun. So I think that's everything. Is there anything that you can think of I missed, Ed?
No, I do want to remind people that we have a Facebook page now. It's
Yes.
It's a mullet. I created it last night. I forgot what it is already.
It's Mullet Fest.
Mullet Fest
I think.
FMB. If you go on our Facebook page, there's a link to it. All the information is going to be put up there, like the stops, everything everybody's doing. We're trying to promote all the businesses. Even if you can't get involved, we want the businesses to succeed on Fort Myers Beach. And we are going to run ads on Gator Country. Renda came up with a nice package for us. So the goal is to draw people from Cape Coral and Fort Myers and Lehigh and Estero to come to the beach and spend their money down here on the beach. So if you haven't liked our page, Mullet Fest 2023, please do that. Share that page. Yeah, isn't that 23? 20, whatever
25.
the hell it is. 25. Man, I got to stop drinking. And so all the details will be posted on there, and then you'll hear the ads on Gator Country too. So, but it's nice to see we've had 3 business meetings. Everybody, usually you have a meeting and a bunch of people show up and get excited about something. And then by the second meeting, it's half the group. Everybody's been showing up because they're all in it together. They all want to draw people down here.
Right. Yeah. And we do have to work together to do that. One more thing I wanted to add is that the credential packs, we're charging for them, and that's only to recoup our costs. The actual Mullet Madness is definitely not a money maker for the businesses. We're hopeful just to, break even.
Yeah.
But you can buy those online now. I put a link on the Facebook page. So you go to the Sandy Bottoms website to make that purchase. That money is not going to Sandy Bottoms. It's just where the ticket sales just going to happen. So I want to make that clear.
Sounds good.
All right. Any more information about that? I thought you were going to bring a fish so we could have all these people practice throwing fish.
Yeah. So Jesse was trying to catch us some mullet this morning, and he was unsuccessful. So
where are we going to get the mullet from?
Well, the bay.
Okay. We are going to throw real fish though, right?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to
They're going
figure
to be
out.
frozen.
We got to have.
I hope.
It's going to get
they'll be
nasty and
smelly.
sticky and smelly, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the fun of the whole thing.
We'll
Oh,
probably
that
have to
doesn't sound like
oil them
fun.
up
Joy,
too.
I'm going to make
Dear,
sure
we
you
gotta-
throw a fish at every place. So. All right. Thank you,
Okay,
Dawn, very
thank
much.
you.
Dawn Miller, everybody. Wait, go ahead.
Yeah. Just want to mention starting tomorrow, so June 23rd through the 30th at Wahoo Willie's, Snug Harbor, and SOB for only $8. They're making this FMB Strong cocktail. Half of the proceeds are going to FMB. So if you like
FMB Strong.
FMB Strong, sorry. The drink is made with Wicked Dolphin pineapple and mango rum, topped with orange juice. And Peter said it's not too sweet. It's a nice mix
I
between.
thought we were going to get a sample of it today.
I know. He said he was going to make one, but he's not here.
Yeah.
So
He never comes
you
to the
guys
show.
are staying the rest of the week.
Yes.
Have a Fort Myers Beach Strong and FMB Strong cocktail and help the island out. Or 2 or
Yes.
7.
All right. Before you guys go, don't hang up the phone. I want to tell you about our great sponsors, because without them, Kim's hair would be really, really flat. All right. Alex King is one of our sponsors. Everybody knows Alex King creates dreams and elevates lifestyles. He does the research and the homework, so you don't have to. If you want to buy a piece of property on Fort Myers Beach, or maybe you want to sell your property and make a little jing, give Alex King a call. Right now, he's sitting in his car waiting for you to call in his Crocs at 239-219-0336. 219-0336. Also, Tom Coleman, who decided that he was too hungover to come to the show today. He is a sponsor of the show at Eagle Eye Aluminum. If you need seamless gutters, both aluminum and vinyl soffit, fascia repairs, or full replacement, he also rescreens pool cages. And he makes sure that, like Michael Stewart, that your pool cage will not fall down. Your when your dog runs into the pool cage, that dog will break his nose before it goes through this pool cage when he puts it in. So give Tom Coleman at Eagle Eye Aluminum a call right now. He's sitting at home with a cold tablet on his head because he's hungover from yesterday for some reason. 239-340-1639, 239-340-1639. And finally, Michael Stewart, structural engineer. Please go back and watch the show yesterday. Or you know what? Go on Michael Stewart's Facebook page and watch his videos. He did some videos on Friday of the Hotka Mansion on the beach there. Did you guys know that I didn't know this until yesterday. Michael Stewart designed the pool, the Hotka pool, before Ian came through. Ian came through and totally destroyed the house, and the pool was the only thing still sitting there. So they put a fence around the pool. They had some floaties in there, and everybody that was walking by would just jump in the pool and pee in the pool or whatever, and it's still there, right? Your pool is still there. But the house is fabulous. So if you want something to stand strong for the next storm or until you sell your property to the next buyer, give Michael Stewart. It all starts with respectable people like Michael Stewart and Albert and Stevens Construction and Kara Stewart. And you don't want to be screwed over by anybody when you're building your dream right here on the beach. Give Michael Stewart a call first, 239-292-7670. 239-292-7670, and do not call Florida Structural Group because they are bankrupt. All right, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday at La Ola's for their 15th anniversary party. Have a great Sunday, and go Pacers. Bye-bye.